Cause I have got nothing else to do with my time, nothing else to do with my time, so I'm back. Yeah, clearly it is obvious that I have nothing else to do right now, given the fact that I am churning out content like I am on some kind of conveyor belt situation. Like, no, I'm just going. I think this is what people call a creator's high, and like it's going to fade eventually. But like, let us pretend like this is not going to fade at all. Let's just enjoy everything that I'm giving. Like, let us enjoy ourselves. So, so, right, right. Hi, welcome back to A World with No End. I'm Alan. If you do not know me, if you know me, you're tired of me. So today we're going to do the next song in the Citizens Dive, that song being Don't Tell Me I'm Pretty. I did something that I don't normally do, and I wrote a script of sorts. Not really like a stringent, like, this is exactly what I'm saying. Most of this is still very much improvised, but like I said, when I finished talking about I Know, I do not know what I'm going to say about this song. So I thought it would be better for me to have, like, you know, a string of ideas that are like that I'm looking at, that I'm going through while I'm doing this, so that even if I'm rambling in a way that sort of makes sense, and not in an absolutely like useless type of ramble situation. Anyways, let's get into it. Don't Tell Me I'm Pretty. Sixth song, which means I have two more songs left, which means I can finally almost close this chapter. Yay! Right. First, number one. I know I'm a handful. I know I'm just too much to handle. I can seem to let it go. Darling, if I'm mad, you bet you're gonna know. I can keep it all in, regretful. So, what are we getting from the first verse? We get self-awareness. You know, when you're very self-aware that you can be a problem, and you just like tell people that, I can be a problem. Or even if you don't tell people that you're a problem, you're just self-aware that you have your own issues, and you know you have baggage that follows you, that sort of makes it difficult for you to be within the context of any kind of I need a synonym for relationship. I have used relationship so many times. Hold on. Synonyms for relationship. Right. So basically, when you're forming any kind of connection with anyone, or you're within their vicinity trying to interact with the person, you know that there are things about you that make it difficult for you to, like, make that connection sustainable. So first verse is very aware of that. It suggests a struggle in being able to control one's own emotions. The whole um I can't keep it all in line. It's a struggle to contain certain emotions, right? I think all of us like get to that point where we struggle to contain certain emotions, and I think that is this verse. It's showing that yes, I have my issues. I struggle to hold in my emotions sometimes. I know that, I can be very open and honest about my emotions. And you could almost like get a kind of sense of like maybe the writer in this instance sort of like regrets how open and raw they are about their emotions, or they regret the consequence of said emotions, right? I feel like it's more regretting the consequences of being that open with your emotions. And I say this purely from the mindset of a person who struggles with a lot of people pleasing tendencies. Like, the consequences of being open about your emotions when you like to please people is really devastating because you're always risking the loss of those connections when you decide to take your stand and you stop your people pleasing ways. So it's like more regretful. It's like I know I have all of these issues. I try to keep it in, but I can't. But I don't, and I regret not being able to keep it in because now it puts us at a very awkward situation. It puts us at an impasse where we don't know how to proceed, right? So I feel like the first verse is struggle with oneself while trying to explain self to another person type of situation. Does that make sense? Tell me in the comments if that makes sense, right? Then we get into the pre chorus. You've got me crying in the shower. Look at the power that you hold. Knees to chest, I start to cower as the water falls down on the bathroom floor. I'm crying in the shower. Look at the power that you hold. There is so much vulnerability in the pre chorus, I think. Like, imagine the imagery of sitting with your knees to chest, almost like fetal position type of situation, but like not laying down in fetal position, but like you're in that position. Like that position is such a vulnerable position, right? You're so vulnerable, curling up, crying in the shower. Like there's so much pain that you're going through because of this relationship, these connections, affiliations with this person, right? Because there's that whole idea of look at the power that you hold, right? You've got me in the you've got me in the shower crying. Look at the power that you hold over me. While some people might read this as saying that there's some form of, you know, power dynamic that I hear, I feel like it's just like, you know, you know how you give people emotional power over you, even when you don't realize that you're doing it. Like when your entire mood is almost dependent on have I talked to X or have when was the last time I hung out with this person or when your entire mood is almost dictated on those things, right? It's like when a certain relationship now has such an integral part in your life and that is fading away. Because remember, the last two songs were like about love fading away, right? Or relationships dying away and fading away. That was sort of like the theme. And I feel like Fozia as a writer is not a person who's going to abandon theme. So let's follow theme. Thematically, we've been in situations where relationships are growing more toxic and they're falling apart and you're trying to hold on to them. I feel like Don't Tell Me I'm Pretty sits at that, breaking point. Like I know was a breaking point of its own, but like Don't Tell Me I'm Pretty is another breaking point. Like you're now at your most vulnerable state, right? You know it's over, and you know what we'll talk about this when we get to the chorus, right? So again, in the pre-chorus, there is this being overwhelmed, feeling powerless at the mercy of the emotions and the pain that has been caused in the face of this relationship, whatever it may be, right? And it's gone. Like, what do I mean by it's gone? Oh yeah, like the relationship is gone and you're just now cowering at the weight of the emotional turmoil that all of this has. You're now just like the vulnerable shell of yourself at this point. I guess something like that. I'm rambling. Let's move on to the chorus before I continue rambling. Point is, take the takeaway is there's so much raw vulnerability and sadness at the realization of how much this person has been such an integral part of your life to the point where they have the power to cause you this level of emotional distress, right? Then into the chorus. Don't tell me I'm pretty. Don't say that I'm beautiful. I know if you loved me, it would never go that far. Every lie is like la da 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 da. All of that. Don't tell me I'm pretty, right? It's it's at this point of rejecting compliments. It's like it's like you're very uncomfortable with hearing certain words and phrases anymore within the context of this particular relationship. almost like you don't trust the person to say these words to you. And like, if they actually cared to you, they wouldn't be saying this to you. Like, they wouldn't be trying to, I don't know, trying to compliment you in this way. Like, you have so much distrust for them at this point. Like, again, sticking to theme, so much has gone down, toxically speaking. Like, this relationship has fallen apart, right? Whatever it may be, friendship, relationship, connection, affiliation, whatever you want to call it, it has fallen apart. You realize that it's toxic. Now this person is calling you pretty. Now they're trying to compliment you. Now they're trying to be good to you. But just a minute ago, they had you crying in the shower. Like, you are at this point of like total emotional confusion, total emotional turmoil. You don't trust them anymore. So if they cared about you, they would not be putting you through this. Like, they would not have put you through the events of anybody else. So lie, I know all of the emotions that were invoked in all those previous songs. If they cared about you, they would not be putting you through any of this, right? So it's a lie. If they loved you, they would have never taken it this far, right? So every lie is like that whole la da da. La da da is just like one of those empty lyrics, and I feel like the empty lyric is used to show how hollow and insincere this whole compliment situation is. Like, it's just so, I don't believe in you anymore. There's deep skepticism and distrust because of, again, all of that emotional turmoil that we have built up to thus far. Right? Cool. So let's get into the second verse, which is the last part that we're going to talk about, because from the second verse we go back to the pre-chorus and we go back to the final chorus. And I don't really want to talk about the vocals in this because I don't want to sing again. But yeah, let's talk about the second verse. So, second verse. You've got such an ego, so much pride it fills the whole cup. And when it starts to overflow, I get mad and you say, don't go, but I can't stay anymore. So at this point, it's call out time, Like, you recognize your own faults in this. That was the first verse. That was you taking accountability for your own faults, right? Second verse is your call out time. It's like you're so egotistical, right? You have so much pride, so much so that you cannot even see the damage that you're doing. Like, to you, you're a perfect individual. And that's like, you know, that's like highlighted in the whole so much pride it fills the whole cup. And when it starts to overflow, I get mad and you say don't go. You see, this is like, it alludes to somewhat of a controlling relationship, which makes it seem as if, the power dynamic thing that I mentioned earlier on has validity. Because, you know if the lyrics then say, when it starts to overflow, I get mad and you say don't go. It's sort of like when, you know a person pushes your buttons too far with their inability to recognize the harm that they cause you, and you start to walk away, and then they do the switch up, the narcissistic switch up, and then they're like, oh no, please, no, come back, let's talk about it. I'm not that bad of a person, I get like this sometimes situation. But like, again, at this point, you've dealt with enough. Again, thematically, go back to the other three songs prior. You have been through so much emotionally and you just can't take it anymore, and you now have to walk away, right? So regardless of this person's pleadings, you just can't stay there anymore, because you are mentally and emotionally at your limit, right? You can't take anything anymore. There's so much frustration in the self-absorption of the persona in the second verse who's being addressed, their unwillingness to change, no matter how much they, push away the persona who is writing these lyrics, right? So it's a reclamation of agency amidst emotional turmoil type of situation. That's what I think. Then we go back into the pre-chorus. You've got me crying in the shower, etc, etc, and into the final chorus, which is, I feel like how the final chorus ends just sort of like, shows that whole walking away aspect type of situation. like vocally how it ends, it just feels like walking away and washing your hands off the situation and trying to move on as best you can given all that exists. So yeah, that is Don't Tell Me I'm Pretty for You. um I hope I did not lose the plot. I mean, I can't really tell if I lost the plot or not because I did go on Genius Lyrics to see if, they uploaded like a summary of what the song's supposed to mean. And there isn't anything. And like, Fozia herself has not talked a lot about this song, like about what it means compared to other songs. There are songs where she's talked about, oh, this song means XYZ to me. So, yeah, she hasn't really done that with this song. So, you can take me as your authority on this song. My analysis is the authority. I'm joking. There's probably someone who knows what's going on more than I do. But yeah, that's sort of like how I feel. And yeah, if you've made it this far, you have patience. Love your patience. Love your dedication. Could never be me though. But yeah, thank you for listening, and I will see you guys next time.